Hey guys, what's going on? So I'm gonna show you a couple of things. This is the full polyester shirts I'm doing for La Quinta. I'll show you my little trick that I have for this. If you haven't seen my sizing, um, basically my measuring chart is on part one of this video, so you can check it out, and it'll show you how I get these dots and where I place my pocket size logos on every shirt. So full polyester shirts. This one I didn't use any topping. Okay, and then on this one I am going to use topping. So I'm going to show you a couple of things. Just my methods again. Moving in. So we're going to go right here. One thing that I like to do, like I said, I'm a big tape user, but just little bits. So I'll go ahead and I drop this in here so I can kind of get an idea how big it is. You can leave a little bit if you want on the edge. I try to cut it really close because I know like this logo is pretty small. So I like to use my tools, the things that I do have working for me. Boom. You know how it has a cut? I put the bottom of my scissors through there. So it allows me to cut straight-ish for the most part. Does it really matter? I think as long as you're in that 90%, you'll be all right. Trash. So I go ahead and I fold this evenly for the best I can, squeeze it with my hand like this without letting go. And then I come on top and kill it. Boom. So we go right here. And I'm basically going to put tape on these sides. And I use painter's tape. A lot of it is because it's pretty affordable. It doesn't have too much residue. So it keeps everything pretty simple. I put it right here. I fold it back. I put it right here. I fold it back. I do this for everything, even when I'm doing like applique or anything like that. I'll start putting out more videos so you guys can kind of see what I'm doing. Cool. So once I grab this, let me not forget. For the soluble, I grab something usually the height of the logo, right? But since I have a big roll, I'm gonna cut it a little bit bigger for when I'm doing other ones, because I'm not gonna just cut a little piece right here. I normally just kind of cut the whole thing, just in case. Am I getting it? Sorry guys, it's a little hard because the camera is on my chest. Boom, cool. So same method, cutting through. Boom, 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 boom. Got it. Move this to the side, and I'm gonna I try to cut these when I do, more or less like 3 same size pieces, so I can kind of use them that fit that same this hoop. So normally for the pocket size. So I'm gonna show you what this looks like. Boom, little freestyle hooping area. Grab these things, move them over. Remember, I used a little piece of tape to line it up with, north and south of the logo. A lot of it is so to make sure, just double tap, triple check, whatever I can, that the design is straight up, because the shirt ships. You know what I mean? As long as I know it's like lined up with this correctly, for the most part, I'll be alright. So, how do I double check that everything is good and line up with this? I put this how I want it to go, and I line up that dot that I made for the sizing. I put it in the middle of these 2 items and these 2 items. Cool. So these little holes right here, I line it up with that. I push it a little bit, not too much, because if you push it too much, you might close it up, and then everything might shift. So once I see that for the most part is lined up, and that my tape is lined up with the north and south of this, I go slide my top in there. All right. Well, first of all, I remove the tape at this point because I already know it's good. I usually save them. See, that was the last one. And I make sure my dot is there. I haven't shifted, nothing crazy. So everything is looking how it's supposed to look. Slide my top in there. I can still see my dot. And then I go ahead and just bam. Try to see if I can pull a little bit. Sometimes it doesn't let you. It's not a big deal. Do what you can. And one thing I also do is that where my marking was at, I still mark it with chalk at the same time, just to make sure that everything's good. And when you look inside of this, right? When you're looking inside of this, my backing is really flush. It's really nice, right? And it's covering the center area where that design is gonna go. So, see what I mean? So, and this is like a 2.5 weight backing. I have black bobbin in there. I have the 65 needles. I already switched them out. I have these, so you can check them out. All right, with little logos, small logos, or small letters and stuff like that. I try to use that 65 weight. So I don't know. I like it. It comes out clean. Like I said, right now we're gonna do the topping version of the same design, so you guys can check and see that it's looking amazing. I'm gonna give you a pause right now because I think somebody is at my door. Ah, they are, but they're leaving. They're dropping off some food. So as you can see right here, let me zoom in. You can see my chalk mark right there, right? So put my laser, center as I can. That was the wrong button. So put my laser, center as I can. Boom. Cool, that looks good. Make sure this is locked in, always. See how sometimes it doesn't do that? Just pull this one out a little bit. That one will lock in. Look, I don't complain. That's all I gotta do to make it work. I'm in here. So we're gonna go readjust this. See the big difference? Boom. We're good to go. I'm gonna go over here and I'm gonna put the speed at 800. You can do 800, 850. You can do 9. I don't like to go over 1,000. Honestly, I think it's a little bit like overkill. But to each their own. You know, the harder you make the machine work, the more maintenance, or issue, the more maintenance you got to do to a certain point because you have a lot of wear and tear on the machine. The more, I don't know, you could probably say weight, pressure, overwork, working the machine. So just make sure that this extra thread is kind of long. Let me see if I can cut a little bit of that. Boom. Boom. And we're gonna hit go. Boom. As you can see, when you're using topping, it helps in a certain way because it does allow the thread to sit on top of the topping, besides being on top of the item, the shirt or anything like that. So it gives it that extra kind of like cushion or fill. I don't know how long it's gonna last because it is a water soluble topping. So once you wash it, it might just disintegrate as a whole. But presentation wise, when they get it, everything else, it looks really good. On shirt pocket size, I like to use double backing. It's just like a personal preference. I use it for even when I'm doing applique, when I'm doing hoodies. I like the double backing. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's just I haven't done a lot of big designs on t-shirts with the double backing, but I'm not a fan of how it feels, and I try to tell it to people. So I don't know. Just saying. Let it keep running, and I'll get back to you guys in a few. Well, here, as you can see, is almost finishing up, and this is going to give the final touches for the orange, which is like somewhat of an outline over stitch type of thing. And then, yep, then we'll be moving on to cleaning it up. So check a little bit more, you'll see. All right, so it's finished up. All right. And this is what we're looking with the topping. It looks a little more cleaner. It's a little nicer. Yes, it does. So we're gonna move over here, and we're gonna go and check out how we're gonna clean this out. So I normally just rip whatever I can from it, right? On the top, when it comes down to the loose thread, where is my little snippet tool? I go in there, cut these bad boys out. Sometimes I just pull them out like that. I'm more familiar with doing that. Or when they look too a little bit more complicated, I just go and do this. This is normally the tools that I use to, clean my shirts when I'm doing embroidery. On the top part, I do use the lighter, but if I have the soluble topping, I leave the lighter for the most part. So, most of the times for last. A lot of it is because after it dries, I just go back through and do like a final cleaning. I don't know. I think it's more satisfying doing it that way. Boom. So before I go wet the back, before I go wet the front with my little water bottle, I make sure I clean this. I clean the back of it too. So, like in the other video I mentioned, I don't like to burn these items, especially when they're going on, touching people's skin. A lot of it is because when you do burn them, it gets a little rough. It can get itchy. So I don't normally do that. I just try to, for the most part, clean it generically, you can say. You can always do so much, but honestly speaking, this is going to be more in the inside of the shirt, so you don't have to go too crazy. I think it's better to have, some thread and have that raspy feeling in there, just to make it look clean. People are not really looking at the inside of your shirt. So, and a little secret handy dandy trick. It's more like an advice, to be honest. Don't cut like this. Cut looking at the shirt, because when you're cutting like this, you don't know how close to the shirt you're getting. And what has happened to me is that I'll, boom, make a hole on the shirt. I'll cut. I get excited and cut too much. So I rather cut like this. That's going to get really close without exaggerating. And not having to worry about cutting the shirt in the back, because for the most part here you can see the face of the shirt from this angle. Watch your stitches. When you're washing these items, remember all of this is going to get softer, so you don't got to go too crazy with it. For the most part, this is kind of what it looked like inside, and this is kind of what it looked like with the soluble. You know what I mean? So let me see if I can put them next to each other. Even though it has like a little bit of residue of the soluble, I just kind of want you to, compare yourself. soluble, non-soluble, right? If you see the N versus this N and the T, they're a little bit more packed. You know what I mean? It looks a little cleaner, for the most part. But those are like very minor differences. You know what I mean? Very, very minor. Still a good job. I do recommend soluble to show the best product when it comes to quality and charge that quality pricing. Normally, what I do with this is just I spray the general area with it, and I have usually like little pieces of shirt that I use. I don't like to throw out things, um, and then I just kind of like dap it a little bit. You'll see the little bit of strings like this. When it dries out, I go ahead and I just burn those out. So I leave these, I hang them, throw them somewhere, and let it dry. And for the most part, that's kind of what I do. So that's kind of like me showing you what I do when I'm doing those pocket size logos on the full polyester shirts. Normally, like I said, that's the method that I use. That's how I put the backing. That's how I cut my backing. That's how I set my double backing for these type of shirts. Soluble is optional. It also depends on your design. If you have a lot of like skinny little thin pieces, you might want to use soluble to give it a little bit of more to make sure it comes out better or the best that it can be. You know what I mean? If you don't have it, you'll see. It's more of a preference thing. There's jobs that I do recommend you having it, investing in it. But do I use it a lot? I don't. It's just some jobs. I have that role for like over a year probably. So it's up to you. Just stick around. Let me know what you think, and I'll keep you posted with the next video. Cool. Easy.